There is a moment that John Goodman has described more than once in interviews, and it says everything about how far things have fallen. When a reporter recently asked him what he would say to Roseanne Barr if he saw her today, after years of silence, after the cancellations and the controversy and the complete unraveling of one of the most celebrated partnerships in television history, he paused and gave an answer that was almost unbearably simple. 4 words. Just 4 words. Hi, how you doing? No anger. No score settling. No lengthy explanation of everything that went wrong. Just a brief, quiet greeting from a man who once shared something extraordinary with someone he no longer speaks to. That answer, more than anything else he has said publicly, tells you exactly how and why Roseanne really ended forever. Men's Journal. To understand the full weight of what has been lost, you have to go back to the beginning, to a television landscape that had never seen anything quite like what Roseanne Barr and John Goodman created together. When the series first premiered on ABC in 1988, it arrived like a disruption. Most family sitcoms at the time were built around comfortable, aspirational households where problems resolved neatly within 22 minutes. Roseanne offered something else entirely. The Connor family lived paycheck to paycheck, argued over real bills, held down exhausting jobs, and navigated the kind of daily friction that working-class families across America recognized immediately. It was honest in a way that television rarely dared to be, and audiences responded in massive numbers. At the center of that world were 2 people whose chemistry felt almost accidental in its perfection. Goodman played Barr's husband, Dan Connor, on the show for 9 seasons, from 1988 to 1997. The warmth he brought to the role, combined with the fearless edge Barr brought to hers, created something that felt genuinely alive on screen. Goodman has spoken about those early days with real affection. Reflecting on their bond, he described how they connected immediately. We hit it off from Jump Street. She made me laugh, and I made her laugh, and wow, it was so much fun. During the show's peak years, they were drawing somewhere between 20 and 30 million viewers per episode. By any measure, this was one of the most successful comedies in American television history, and its 2 leads were the primary reason why. HuffPost +2. But behind that laughter, behind the ratings, and behind the cultural celebration of the Connor family, John Goodman was carrying something he could not easily put down. As the show climbed higher and the recognition became impossible to escape, the experience of sudden, total fame began working on him in ways he had not anticipated. In an interview with Today, Goodman explained that at first it was exciting, but that it got frightening when he lost his anonymity. The Golden Globe he won in 1993 for his portrayal of Dan Connor represented the industry's recognition of his talent, but off-screen, things were becoming increasingly difficult to manage. He later admitted that he grew complacent and ungrateful, and that after 8 or 9 years on the series, he genuinely wanted to leave the show. Today.com IMDb. The way he chose to cope with that disillusionment was the part he has spoken about most honestly. Goodman has since revealed that the situation became serious enough that he was drinking at work. My speech would be slurred, he told Today's Willie Geist. I thought I was fooling people. My cheeks would turn bright red when I was liquored up. I just looked like a stop sign. What makes this admission particularly striking is that it was happening during the production of one of the most watched programs in the country, and almost nobody outside the set knew. He has since described himself during that period as an alcoholic parent who, if he saw a bottle of vodka, simply had to have it. His wife, Annabeth, had grown so exhausted by his behavior that he later admitted she had given up on him, and sometimes wondered if she was simply waiting for him to die. Yahoo The Fix. Roseanne Barr, to her credit, did not look away. She was aware of what was happening and eventually confronted him directly. Goodman acknowledged this, saying she was scared for him, but more confrontational about it. He explained that she had already watched her husband go through the same process, referring to her ex-husband Tom Arnold and his own struggles with substance abuse. The turning point for Goodman came during a particularly difficult weekend. He had spent a long weekend with friends and missed a rehearsal because he was drunk. By the time Sunday morning arrived, he was shaking while still drinking, and he described reaching a moment of clarity in which he understood he needed to be hospitalized. He called his wife, she made some phone calls, and he was admitted to a treatment center. He eventually got sober in 2007 and has maintained that sobriety since, attending Alcoholics Anonymous meetings consistently. As he has explained, you never fully beat it, it remains a daily commitment. Yahoo Plus 2. When the original run of Roseanne concluded in 1997, Goodman made a significant personal decision alongside his professional one. He left Los Angeles entirely and relocated with his wife to New Orleans, a city that felt more like home and less like the industry machine that had contributed to so much of his pressure. For more than 2 decades, the show remained a beloved memory, a piece of television history that people revisited in reruns and discussed in terms of what it had meant for working-class representation on American screens. Then came the revival. A 2018 reboot of Roseanne premiered on ABC to enormous excitement and was met with strong viewership numbers and critical interest, reuniting the original cast and exploring where the Connor family had landed decades later. Goodman himself was skeptical about the project at first, later admitting he assumed it would run for only a handful of episodes before concluding. Instead, the premiere attracted audience figures that surprised even the network, and ABC moved quickly to renew it for a second season. For a brief window, it genuinely seemed as though the cast had pulled off something remarkable, reviving a classic sitcom and making it feel relevant all over again. Popculture.com. That window closed faster than anyone could have predicted. The 2018 revival was swiftly cancelled after its first season, when Barr made racist remarks on Twitter about Valerie Jarrett, one of Barack Obama's advisors. ABC's then president of entertainment Channing Dungey responded with a statement declaring that Roseanne's tweet was abhorrent, repugnant, and inconsistent with their values, and that they had decided to cancel the show. The speed of the decision shocked the entertainment industry, particularly given how well the revival had performed. For the cast, many of whom had only recently come back together after years apart, the cancellation created immediate and profound uncertainty. Popculture.com. News. Goodman's reaction in the aftermath was notable for its restraint and its genuine emotion. Rather than distancing himself from Barr or condemning her publicly, he expressed something closer to grief. In an interview with Variety, he said he felt terrible about the whole situation, adding that they had a great time together, that he loved her, that she was just her own person, and that he missed her and wished her well. He also told the Sunday Times that he knew for a fact that she was not a racist. These were not the comments of someone trying to manage his public image carefully. They read like the words of a person who genuinely cared about someone he could no longer reach. Men's Journal. The franchise did not disappear. ABC decided to move forward with the remaining cast members under a new title, The Connors, which debuted in October 2018 and featured every original cast member except Barr, with her character's absence explained by an off-screen death from an opioid overdose. Goodman, who had already moved on to other work assuming everything was finished, returned to play Dan Connor once more, this time as a widower navigating grief and family life without the woman who had been the center of the original show. What nobody quite expected was how long it would last. The Connors ran for 7 seasons before concluding in April 2025, with its finale becoming an unexpectedly emotional moment for the cast and for longtime viewers. Screen Rant the Things. Goodman himself came up with the idea for the show's closing scene, in which Dan Connor broke the fourth wall and addressed the audience directly, offering a quiet goodnight. He later explained that he viewed it as a way of saying thank you to the viewers who had stayed with the show across so many years. The rest of the cast had already been moved to genuine tears during the filming of that final sequence, with executive producer Bruce Rasmussen noting that he had never seen anything quite like it on television, the characters saying goodbye to each other for real, with actual emotion on their faces. Goodman spoke about the ending in deeply personal terms, telling People magazine that it was really hard, that he was going to miss it for a while, and that he was old and resistant to change. Screen Rant Plus 2. Yet even as all of that was unfolding, the silence between Goodman and Barr remained unbroken. In a July 2025 interview with The Hollywood Reporter, when Goodman was asked directly whether the two were still in contact, his answer was plain, no. I'd rather doubt if she wants to talk to me. We haven't talked for about 7 or 8 years. Barr confirmed this from her side as well, telling Fox News Digital that she was no longer friends with any of her former Roseanne co-stars. She said they were all in the past, that she had pleasant memories of the fun they had shared, and that she wished them well, but that they no longer spoke. HuffPost Fox News. What makes this estrangement particularly lead is that it does not appear to stem from personal anger on Goodman's part. He has never publicly attacked Barr. He has never attempted to relitigate what happened or position himself as the wrong party in any of it. His comments across multiple interviews over multiple years have remained remarkably consistent in tone, carrying a mixture of warmth and genuine sadness about everything that was lost. He remembers the chemistry. He remembers the laughter. He remembers the millions of viewers who tuned in every week because they saw their own lives reflected in that fictional household in Lanford, Illinois. And he remembers what it was like to share all of that with someone whose creative instincts matched his own in a way that could not simply be manufactured or replaced. What truly ended Roseanne forever was not a single tweet or a single network decision, though both of those were real and consequential. It was the chain reaction those events triggered, the fracturing of trust, the divergence of paths, the accumulation of years without a single conversation. The show itself continued under a different name, the characters evolved, the cast found new rhythms without their original center, and eventually that chapter closed too. But the original thing, the specific alchemy of those particular people in that specific moment, was already gone long before the finale of The Conners aired in 2025. John Goodman has made his peace with that reality, or at least he has found a way to carry it without bitterness. He talks about those years on Roseanne as some of the most meaningful of his professional life. He is proud of what The Conners became against all reasonable expectations. And if he ever crossed paths with Roseanne Barr again, he has told us exactly what he would say. Just 4 words, warm and uncomplicated. The kind of greeting you would offer someone you once knew very well and still wish nothing but good things for, even across a silence that has lasted nearly a decade and shows no signs of ending.